I'm delighted to be joined on our show by United treble winner, legendary Premier League goalkeeper, in my opinion, the greatest goalkeeper ever to grace the Premier League. It gives me great pleasure to say hello and good afternoon to Peter Schmeichel. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Andy, and I think you are the greatest presenter of all time as well. So thank you very much for that. Hi, Darren.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, Peter, I know you for a fact you don't believe that, so don't tell him that, please.
Go on, Schmeichel.
You are. You are. How are you doing? Are you nervous today?
No, I've spoken to you before, Pete. Oh, about the game. Right, okay.
About the game.
Oh, right. That's a great question. Am I nervous? I tell you what I'm not, right? I tell you what I'm not. Because even though Spurs have beaten us 3 times already this season, I sort of feel that not it's clicked, it hasn't clicked, far from it, but we've got big game players, Casemiro, Bruno, there's players like Ahmed's just come back from injury, Mason Mount looks a little bit fresh, Rasmus seems to remember now where the goal is, etc. Spurs have got problems with injuries. I just feel we're heavy favourites, actually, but forget about me, you've played at the highest level. How are you feeling ahead of this game?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more cautious, I have to say. It's a really difficult one to call because it's one game. Obviously, it's clear to everyone in the last 6 games in the Premier League, they've literally put everything into the Europa League. And, when we look at their results, both teams, they've been terrible. But in the Europa League, obviously played well. So, Spurs, so many years since they won a European trophy, 41 years. There's so many storylines in this. Last time they did win a trophy was the League Cup in 7-8. Man United won one last year. So some of the players have tried that before. Injuries, whatever you call it, I don't think it comes into play today. I think it's such a big game for everyone involved that coming onto the pitch, you don't have to think about anything other than give everything you have in the 90 minutes or whatever, 120 minutes plus pens, however long that game goes on for. And you don't have to think about anything after that. So I'm 50-50 on that there, Andy. Absolutely. I can't call it.
Peter, has it surprised you really how inconsistent they've been in the league and how good they've been in Europe? It doesn't make any sense because you look at a team that plays in the Premier League and they're getting beat every season, every week, they're 16th. But in the Europa League this season, they've been faultless. Has it really surprised you it's like 2 different teams that have been playing?
Yeah, I don't think, to be fair, Darren, I don't think it surprised me because when you look at the teams, apart from Rangers, it's all been outside of the UK that they've played in Europe. And you got more time on the ball. You got less pressure. It's less relentless. It's more tactical. When you play in the Premier League, every team you play against in the Premier League will try to win the game. I mean, it's been that's the beauty of the Premier League, and they are capable of winning the game if you're not playing well. That's just the reality of it. But in Europe, you have a little bit more time on the ball. You're not under the same kind of pressure. There's a little bit more space to play in. And, with Ruben trying to implement a new system, it's been easier for the team to play in Europe. Now, all that goes out of the window today because they're playing Premier League competition. So it's going to be interesting to see if Man United can find that European form in the game tonight. But I haven't, to be honest, I really haven't been surprised. I think it makes a lot of sense that they play better in that tournament. And also, as you well know, if you're under pressure in the Premier League, it's a great sort of distraction from that to play in a different tournament, FA Cup, League Cup, or whatever. It just puts a different mindset to it. So, no, I don't think so.
Pete, let me ask you, listen, you've of course played for Manchester United, obviously. You played for Bromby, Sporting, Villa and City before they were the City that we know and love now. Is there a different feeling from your perspective when you're sat in a dressing room before a major final, looking down at your shirt and seeing the Manchester United club badge?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of had the same experience when I was at Bromby because it was obviously the best team in the country, the first full-time professional team, and we attracted the best players. So when I moved across to Manchester United, obviously I came I was a massive fan. So that was my beginning of it. And I sat in that dressing room. I remember that very, very first day. I sat in that dressing room watching the players coming in, the Mark Hughes, Brian Robson. I mean, my God, all these big stars. They just won the Cup Winners' Cup. And I'm thinking to myself, everything that I was used to in Brøndby, the confidence of just looking around the dressing room, it's here as well. And of course, as we progressed in the 90s, it just got better and better. And obviously losing a game, which was far and few between the games that we lost, but the disappointment of losing a game because you really are thinking that you shouldn't. And that's the kind of confidence you have, not only looking at the badge, but looking at the players in the dressing room. And it is a heavy badge to wear. And I know there's been a little bit of sort of in between Ange and Ruben about, Ruben said, my club is bigger, and, there's a little bit of truth to that. And because whatever Manchester United do, good or bad, everybody in the world knows about it. They might not necessarily like Manchester United, but they know they've lost a game, or they won a game, or somebody scored a hat-trick. But not necessarily with Tottenham or other Premier League teams. It's not the same pressure. And this is, I think, this season, I think this is where we've come up short a little bit, where we probably haven't had the mentality to go through a full Premier League season and understanding that even if you lose a game, we're okay, we win the next one. It's worn off the confidence that you need to have. And that's something, obviously, that needs to be looked at and worked on. But with the question before from Darren about, the difference in form in Europe, when you then go out in Europe and you don't have that same pressure, then you win a little bit of confidence back. And I think that's why the results in Europe are better than in the Premier League.
Peter, I've got to ask you then, because you said there about a heavy badge, and listen, the history that comes with Manchester United is phenomenal. So when you look at the manager then, obviously he's come from Sporting, he's got a lot of success at Sporting. It's not Manchester United, that's no disrespect, but it's not Manchester United Football Club. No. Do you think he's under any pressure whatsoever, regardless of how the short time he's been there? Yes, he's done really well getting them to Europa League Final, but the Premier League form has been really poor. Do you think he's under any pressure whatsoever?
Well, Bruno Fernandes said that yesterday in the press conference, because he was asked, Ruben was asked, and he had Bruno Fernandes next to him, and he was just about to answer that question, and Bruno, he put an arm on Ruben and said, yeah, of course he's under pressure. But I don't think he is. To be honest, I don't think he is. I think you come in the middle of the season, you didn't spend a lot of money in January, you haven't been able to sort of bring the players in that you want to have in the squad. You haven't been able to get the players out that you don't want to have in the squad. I think he's got time. And I have to be honest, I really like him. I like him. He looks a very strong character. I think his communication is very, very good. I would wish for him to have a little bit more support from upstairs. I want, wish for Jason Wilcox or even Jim, to come out now and again and just talk a little bit about him and how good he is, and give me as a fan and everybody else who supports Man United a little bit of confidence that we've got the right man in. And you look at history. When Sir Alex came in, he came in '86, and nothing really happened for him good until '90. So it's a long time. He didn't have good results, and the club consistently came out and supported the manager. Said, we've got the right guy. We know what he's doing. We know where he's heading with this team. And it'd be nice if the club came out and supported Ruben in the same kind of way, because I think that's what we need as fans. We need to have that, because everything, if he's left to do all the communication to the world on his own, then it's then it's a bit of a problem. Not that we don't believe him, but we need everybody else. We need his process. We need them to come out and say, hey, this is the right guy. We trust him, and the project is fantastic, and it'll take a little bit of time, but we'll get there.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.